Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. This is the show that helps you become your best self. And today we are talking about dealing with toxic family members, those unhealthy family relationships. But before we do that, as always, I want to invite you to come say hi to me on social media. I am at Sabrina Joy Perozzo on both TikTok and Instagram. So come say hi, come join the family online, the community that I am trying to build, and say hi and help me come up with even more like ideas on what I can talk about so I can help you because that's what I'm here to do. If you look at the show notes below, you'll also see like how to spell my name if you need that to find me on social media. But also you can sign up for the weekly newsletter that goes out every Wednesday evening around 6 or 7 PST in the evening time, where I share like a little therapy corner article about things that I'm learning in therapy or deep things that I'm learning about my own emotional health that I feel like can benefit you, random thoughts, important things that are coming up, important things that I think would be helpful to you. And I'm trying to evolve that newsletter into something that would benefit you guys more and more and more and more, because that is exactly why I'm here. So sign up for that. You are also welcome to still purchase the Emotions Everyday Planner Journal Hybrid. I feel like it would be a great gift for someone that wants to work on their emotional health but doesn't know where to start, because it's very guided and it's easy to like get through and do every single day without taking up a whole bunch of time. I would say it probably takes 5 to 10 minutes every single day at the most. So just something to consider. You can purchase that as well, and that's generally shipped within 1 to 2 business days after purchase. So again, a great gift. And there's a bunch of other stuff down there in the show notes below that you're welcome to take a peekaroo at and see if you're interested in that, like submitting a topic suggestion, needing a place to vent anonymously, and checking out the website, like all kinds of things. But let's go ahead and just jump right into the episode that we're going to talk about today, which again is called Dealing with Toxic Family Members, Unhealthy Family Relationships. So, the moment I realized that I didn't have to like my family was one of the best days of my life. And I know you're probably like, we're starting off a little like off, aren't we, Sabrina? So it's important for me to be honest with you, to be transparent, to share everything that I am feeling and be really vulnerable, right? I want you guys to know the things that I'm going through. I want you to know research that I've done. I want to tell true stories so that you understand where I'm coming from, and hopefully it'll help you have the courage and the bravery to step out into your own real like vulnerability and life and make those changes, because you've seen other people have the courage to do so and know that even though it might be a lot of work, there might be struggle involved, it is worth it in the end. So and I know what I just said, it sounds really bad and negative and whatever you may think, but I mean it when I say that no longer holding on to that obligation, which it was. It was an obligation most of my life. There was love involved for sure with my dad and growing up and with my mom and stuff like that, but it was majority obligation that I needed to embrace every single one of my family members or like have a relationship with them or even really like them was such a wonderful feeling for me to just let all of that go, to just be like, I am released of this. I am a new person from this day forward. We are moving on. And I truly mean it. I truly mean it. It sounds dramatic, but it was like one of the best days of my life. And I really can't actually recall in my mind a moment of standing in our previous home where I just made that decision. I finally was like, we're done here. I can't endure any more of this. It is affecting other parts of my life and other people in my life, and that's not fair. And so I just let it go. I truly let go of such a huge burden. And again, I do feel proud about that. I do. It might be a weird thing to feel pride and feel like happy about and feel like I have accomplished some sort of big goal or mission in doing that, but I do. And I know that there are other people out there like that that would like to also accomplish that, also, release that giant burden, but they just haven't figured out how, or they haven't got the confidence or the belief in themselves that they can do it and that will be okay. And I'm here to tell you that it will be okay. And, in thinking about this, of course, like during this time of year where I feel like, family is put on a pedestal even more than it normally is during the rest of the year, I started really thinking about like, the toxicity that some people have in their families. And it also got me thinking that I wasn't really introduced to the idea of choosing your family until I got into college and away from all the chaos that I grew up in. And when I say like choose your family, meaning like actually choosing the people that are in your life and considering those people your family. And it actually took my husband a little bit longer, like while we were married, to realize that fact too, with like, some ups and downs that he has experienced. And like, they don't need to be actually like blood related or anything like that for you to consider them your family. And actually, in hindsight, I would say, and I've actually told her this, that my best friend's mom in high school actually was like my second mom. Like, she was like my mom, like my high school mom. And I just like appreciated her so much because she didn't do a lot, but she did enough, right? To really like mom me and allow me to come to their house and make dinner and like drive me home sometimes where I lived all the way across town before I started driving, and just doing such nice, kind things. And that is such a comforting memory that I don't think I fully realized it then, but now I'm like, oh, yeah, she was a part of the family that I started creating without even realizing it. So, yeah, so if you have never been introduced to the idea of like being able to choose your own family, you can do that. You can pick your friends, you can pick people that you work with, people that you volunteer with, like your neighbors, like whomever. They can be your family. Whoever you want to be your family can be your family. And who you don't want to be your family, you can, distance yourself from them as much as you can. But yeah, it's just like I didn't realize that until I got into college. And it wasn't that I had never met anyone that had like a rough upbringing or struggled with their family like I did. No, I definitely met several of those people. But the people I was meeting in that time period, in college, were following through with those feelings and creating that separation that I have yet to create. I wasn't doing that before college. I was just enduring the pain of these relationships, like with my dad and even with my mom, even though I did spend a long time thinking that my mom was like the greatest thing ever. And it's not as though I forgot any of the bad things that happened and the things that she did. It's just that, growing up, I just felt like she was, um, I kind of idolized her as being the better parent, even though she really wasn't. It's just because I had all the fun times with her, and she actually like kind of doted on me during certain periods of my time in the short span that I had her in my life, because she passed away when I was 13. But it's just it's so crazy to me to just like think about that and realize that I didn't even understand the idea that I didn't really have to fully embrace these people as my family. Now, of course, like if you're a child, of course, being a child, I would not realize that, I could distance myself and I needed them. I was, really depending on them. And so I think that's why it was such a beautiful transition in college to realize, oh, wow, okay, yeah, I can just choose who I want to be my family. And it wasn't in college that I like finally made that decision. It was like I was like a grown woman and with a family and standing in like the living room of our first home, really figuring out and coming to the conclusion I cannot do this anymore. So, but it wasn't, but it was in college when I first started learning about this and understanding. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Like I can choose. Like if we become best friends, we can be best friends. Like we can be like family. I can consider you like a sister. Or actually, growing up, there was a, a a gal that my dad was like really close friends with, and I spent a lot of time with her and her daughter and her other kids. And I always considered, shout out to Laura, I always considered Laura my cousin. Like, because I spent so much time there in different periods of my life. And, we would like share a room and hang out like we were like cousins, and I would just like eat their food and just chill, and we had the best time together. Even though she was still older than me, it was just fun. She accepted me, and I always considered her to be like my cousin, and then like her mom to be like my aunt. And it's just like it really just really even reflecting on all this right now just really like hones in the point of like you get to choose your family. So back on track to what I was talking about. Before college, I wasn't doing any of this, like actually following through with those feelings of these people are unhealthy or are toxic in my life and creating that separation. I wasn't doing that. I was just enduring the pain, the burden of pain, that dealing with the ups and downs, and how my dad just was so mental and emotionally like abusive and then physically abusive like later down the line. And then my mom was just like a total like train wreck because she got involved with like two other guys having kids that are my siblings that I love so dearly because obviously they're my parents' decisions. They're their decisions and they shouldn't affect like how I feel about my siblings because we had nothing to do with that. But it was just like, all of these things happening and not even realizing that, you know, that I could like create this separation. I don't know. It's just like, the train wreck of like my dad and my mom. Anyway, let's move on. Let's stop always talking about me. But yeah, so I wasn't doing that before college, but then like it was like a light bulb. So, but finally coming to the understanding that just because, you know, you were born into this family doesn't mean they have to be your family forever, right? It doesn't. Because I think that even in more like, I don't know, quote unquote, traditional families, maybe that doesn't have as much drama as my family did, you could still like grow apart. And then maybe there was some sort of big fallout that you had with a parent or a sibling or an aunt or an aunt or whomever. Did I really just say aunt and aunt? I meant aunt and uncle. And then they're just like you just don't feel like they're your forever family or there was some sort of other thing that happened that caused distance to grow and then like a severing of the relationship, right? Like just because you're born into a family doesn't mean that they have to be your family, especially if they're like even worse than anything that I've shared with you. Maybe there is more like pain endured and other things, right, that we're not going to talk about. And they're like, no, I absolutely don't want this family. And like, as quick as you can, you separate yourself from them and you let them be. And actually, I have a friend that was recently talking about how she always thought that her sister was going to be like one of her closest friends for her entire life. But then they had a falling out and she's tried to reach out and like rekindle that relationship. And the other person is like, no, they basically kind of just manipulating and using them for, just what they want and not like it's not a two-way relationship. And she's finally coming to the realization that, wow, sometimes just family relationships, they just like need to be severed. They just need to end. And it's not that it's going to end forever, right? Sometimes you can come back to someone like years later when you guys are in a different season of life and made different changes and grown in different ways. That's always an open I've said that in the past. Like if my dad decided to come to me and like, be a grown up and like us have us figure out our relationship, then maybe we could. But I don't really have any hope that's going to happen. But I'm not against it either. But I'm not secretly like waiting for that to happen either. I'm just like, I'm just over it. I have moved on. And maybe you feel the same. But yeah, so finally, like, so just make sure. I know there's a lot of like back and forth in this conversation with myself that I'm sharing with you, but it's important to understand. I know can be really difficult, especially if you are enduring like a toxic family or an unhealthy people in your family and you don't know how to feel about it. You feel one way, but you feel like you have to, deny those feelings of not liking them or not wanting to be around them because you feel like it's because it's family. Like you have to love them and you have to care about them, and that's not necessarily true. So when you finally come to the understanding that just because you're born into this family doesn't mean they have to be your forever family, that might actually even put a little hope in your heart already that things can get better. And I'm not saying that you need to like throw it all away at first chance, like just being like, okay, they've treated me like trash for years, let's just move on. You can make that decision if you want. I'm not saying that you have to. But if you do put in the effort to try to figure it out with them and better the relationship, but still nothing changes, like you do your due diligence, but nothing comes up, or maybe things get worse, feel free to move on. Feel free to just give yourself permission to just move on and be like, okay, I did the work. I can't keep begging someone to change. As I've talked about before, people change when they want to change. They have to make that decision on their own, no matter what kind of like prodding and forcefulness that you may do to them. They still have to make that decision to change for it to be a lasting and meaningful change. They have to. So you can just like be like, okay, peace out. I'm moving on. We're over this. This is not for me. And so just to like round into the tips and the advice that I want to give you, as I do with most episodes, if you are listening to this episode when it releases, which is like peak holiday time, day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday 2022, you'll understand that like being with family and navigating those relationships can be really difficult during this time of year. And I know that there's a previous episode where I talked about how to deal with people that you don't like and navigating conversations, uncomfortable conversations with people you know, whether they're family or not, and how to get through that. And I just wanted to take another step forward in talking about family because I feel like, again, during holiday time, there feels like there's this huge obligation for us to spend time with family, despite how terrible those relationships are, despite how abusive those relationships are, despite whatever is happening. And it just feels like everyone's like, well, they're family, so you have to continually like spend time with them and let them in and do this, that, and the other. And that's just all a bunch of nonsense. It's not true. You don't have to. Why would you want to, sacrifice your own mental health and mindset and your emotional growth and your ability to like live your best life just to allow these people to continue to exist in your life just because they're related to you? It's absolute nonsense, right? Like they don't deserve the special treatment. I know. Like if that offends you, eh, that's fine. That's fine. But just because they're family does not give them this overarching right to do and be however they want towards you. That's garbage. It's absolute hot garbage. I'm telling you. But yeah, but even when it's not family time, right? If you're listening to this at another time that's not holiday time, even when it's not like holiday family time, it can still be tough, right? And since this can be an ongoing battle, I wanted to chat about some of the best ways to deal with family members that are like toxic or just not healthy for you to be around, and also some reminders that will help you not get stuck in thinking you're obligated to anything because you're not, just because they're family. Like it's not, there should be no obligation. It doesn't matter who you are, right? And I would say that in every relationship, right? There's no obligation between you and like your partner or your spouse, right? Like you did you know, go before God and everyone and decide like, yeah, you're going to be with each other through sickness and health. And yes, but it's just like, there are some things in everyday life where it's like you're not obligated to do everything they tell you to do. You're not obligated to like be the way that they want you to be and this, that, and the other, right? And like the only obligation I would see is like with a mother and a child and doing their best to raise that child until they are like an adult and they move on. But other than that, it's like there's not like real obligation there. And so, um, here's like the advice on how to deal with unhealthy family members. I have 7 pieces of like advice slash reminders to help you. And let's go ahead and jump in. Oh, but before, why do I always like kind of forget? Before that, as always, I want to give you my quick disclaimer that the tips and advice I'm about to give you is all based on my own research, experience, and the experiences of others that I'm allowed to share. If you find that what I'm about to give to you and share with you does not align with what you need to deal with toxic family members or unhealthy people in your life, I encourage you to seek a therapist or a counselor that you can, have that one-on-one like conversation with, and they can help you figure out what would actually help you in this situation. Or say it with me, you can go to your best friend Google and type in like how to deal with toxic family members, unhealthy family relationships, and that will give you so many articles and opportunities for you to better understand what you should do in those situations. Okay, let's jump right in. We have 7 pieces, 7 of them to go through, and let's get on it. So, number 1, in no particular order, except for I did put the last 2 at the end on purpose to kind of like round out the list. Number 1, you get to choose how much time you spend with them. You are in control of who gets your time. You're in control of how much time you give to people, family or not. You are in control of your time. If someone else says otherwise, they are lying. It is not true. Only you are in control of your time because it is your time. Anything that has to do with you and you doing something you are in control of. Now, everything outside of that, you're not in control of. You just have to like roll with the punches and be flexible. But anything that involves you doing, saying, thinking, deciding something, that's all on you. So you get to choose how much time you spend with these family members. So people are like, oh, well, it's family, so you should be here all day, or you should come take care of me every day, or this, that, and the other. If that is not in your heart to do that, don't do it. Don't do it. Just be like, hey, I'm going to stop by for this amount of time. If they try to guilt you into staying longer, be strong and be like, no, I cannot, unless you have changed your mind when you have arrived to whatever you're doing there and you want to stay longer because you want to, not because they want you to. Don't allow them to manipulate you or gaslight you into thinking that you are obligated to stay as long as they want. You don't have to. You get to choose how much time you spend with your family. Okay? So do whatever amount of time will be the healthiest for you that won't burn you out from spending time with them and helping them and assisting them or doing whatever it is. Make sure that you think about all those things. Make sure you don't overdo it. Make sure you don't cut into time where you need to take care of yourself just to take care of them. And if you do that here or there, fine, but don't make it a habit. Okay? Number 2, it's acceptable to have personal boundaries with family members. It's acceptable to have personal boundaries with family members. There have been times in the past which I am avoiding it. I'll be honest. I'm avoiding talking about personal boundaries because I think that I just need to wait till the top of the year. And I will pop it in here and there, but to do another deep dive in personal boundaries, it's like I know that I need to be the most fired up I've ever been to dive into that. But I have mentioned in the past that with personal boundaries, it does not matter who you are spending your time with or who you interact with. You can have personal boundaries with everyone. You can have them with your parents, you can have them with your kids, your spouse, your partner, your people at work, people that you volunteer with, your friends, other family members, whomever. You can have personal boundaries with everyone in your life. You are entitled to that. We all are entitled to that. You should always be expecting respect. And I know that a lot of people will live on that, they will die on the hill of you have to earn respect. I don't agree with that. I feel like there are times where maybe if you have lost respect from other people, then you have to kind of earn it back. But I do feel like there is just this minimal base level of respect that everyone gets. And that is integrated into having personal boundaries, whether you realize you have those boundaries or not. And so you are allowed to have personal boundaries. Now, if your family is telling you otherwise, oh no, I get to, treat you this way or do this because I'm your mom or I gave birth to you. No, you don't. You absolutely don't. Don't, it's such a manipulation tactic. And I honestly will say that I feel like a lot of people are naive to what they are even saying out of their mouth. It's incredible. It's incredible that people don't even realize. They don't even realize, my friends, they don't even realize that they're saying such terrible things. So I don't care if they saved you from falling down a well. I don't care if they give birth to you. I don't care if they put food on the table every day and paid the bills and made sure you got off to school, whatever. I don't even care if they put you through college. They made those decisions, and a lot of those decisions are just things you do when you're a parent. Maybe not the whole putting through college thing. I don't feel like that should be an obligation. And that's not something I experienced at all. I had to pay for it myself, still paying that off. But but it's other those other things making sure you're fed and you go to school. Yeah, that's what you have to do as a parent. You have to do those. Those are your obligations for choosing to have a child, right? So don't let them try to con you into thinking oh, well, because they took care of me, I need to take care of them. No, if you want to take care of them, please do that. And if you've had a good relationship with them, or you're even working on having a better relationship with them and you do want to take care of them, fine, do that. That's how my husband and I feel about my in-laws. Yeah, we're going to take care of them. They're great. We've had our ups and downs, but they're great. They're great people. So, yeah, we're going to want to help them. But you can have those personal boundaries that says that you don't get treated this way. You don't have to help them. You don't have to share you don't have to share everything with them, right? And expect respect. Expect respect, even from your family. Doesn't matter who it is, everyone, including your family. Number 3, you're not obligated to share personal details about your life because you're related. You're not obligated to share personal details about your life just because. you're related. I don't know why, and I will admit it's probably like, a blind spot for me, and just because I didn't really experience it with my weird family, like, experience growing up. But I don't understand this expectation that family members feel like since they are related to you, they deserve to know everything about you. They deserve to know everything that's happening in your life. Sometimes you just don't want to share everything, and I think that's fine, even with the closest people in your life. Now, if you are hiding things from people that should know, like your spouse or your partner, because you guys share finances or children or whatever, that's a different conversation altogether, and it's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about like if someone is trying to ask you about maybe like a medical condition that you have and you just don't feel comfortable talking about it, or it has progressed to be something worse or different and you're just not ready yet, you're not obligated to tell them about that. You're not. Or maybe they hear through the grapevine that you went through some sort of procedure and they want to know more about it. And again, you're just not ready to tell them. Like you don't have to tell them. Maybe you recently, like, someone leaked that you broke up and someone wants to know, like, why did you break up with that person? You don't have to tell them. Maybe you don't want everyone to know. Maybe you're still, like, processing your emotions and the whole experience. You know, maybe it's whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. You're not obligated to share personal details about your life just because you're related to someone. That is not like your like golden ticket to be like, oh, like even with like your siblings, maybe you're really close and you do normally share things, but if you decide to hold one thing back because it's just making you feel really uncomfortable, or you don't even know how you truly feel about it, or you are just like waiting a little bit so that you can prime yourself to deal with any opinions or judgments, you don't have to share it. Just because you're family or you're related doesn't mean you have to tell them everything. Number four. Number four is you can be different and do different things than the people in your family. You can be different and do different things than the people in your family. Just because everyone in your family is a doctor or a nurse or a CPA or a teacher or whatever doesn't mean you have to be one of those. It doesn't. And you might think, oh, this doesn't feel very toxic or unhealthy. I actually grew up with several people that felt obligated and pushed and forced to follow in their parents' footsteps, to do the same things that they did. Or even if their parents didn't do it, it's just like them living vicariously through their child and forcing them to do something because that is what the expectation is. But you can be different from your family. You don't have to do the same things that they do. It's totally fine. And I've made sure that I've told my child this so much because I don't want her to feel obligated to be like me, even though I am so super cool, or be like her dad. And I think it's harder for my husband to accept that because, again, he thinks he's super cool, which he is. But we're not making like little replicas of ourselves. We are here as parents to train and get these kids ready to be adults and live in the real world and be able to make their own decisions and be as autonomous as possible. So we can't expect them to be the same as we are. And so if you have people in your family that are like, kind of getting down on you about being different and stepping outside the box and, doing something that they haven't done or that they don't even understand, that's another one too. Don't worry about them. I know it's easier said than done, of course, one of those, but don't worry about them. You can do Sorry, I thought there was like a spider on me. Ugh. Okay. You can do whatever you want to do. You can do things that are different, that are new, that your family is not exposed to, that they don't understand. And you just got to be your own person because despite maybe having a lot of similarities with the people in your family, you are not a carbon copy. You do not have to be the same. And actually, it would be better if you weren't the same so you can like mix it up a little bit and teach them things that they don't know, and they can have a wider perspective of how life is different from theirs, which is absolutely freaking fantastic. Okay, number five. Number five, you don't owe your family anything. You don't owe your family anything. I feel like this one encompasses a lot of the things that I've already said so far. It's like your family, like, you can have personal boundaries, or you don't have to share everything with your family, or you don't have to spend time with them if you don't want to, or You don't have to loan people money, if you don't want to, or pay for certain things, or take people places, or have the burden of taking care of a sibling because your parents decide not to, or whatever the case may be. You don't owe your family anything, okay? It sounds harsh. I feel like this is like the most harsh one in the list because the way it sounds and the way it's phrased. There is no other way that I wanted to phrase it. If it takes you like believing this phrase as harsh as it sounds for you to make some changes and understand the truth of that you don't owe your family anything, then I'm doing what I wanted to accomplish. You don't owe it to your family. And if they're like, oh, you owe it to me because of this, that, and the other, no, why are we blackmailing? Why are we manipulating? No, you don't owe them anything. I believe that it should be out of the kindness of your heart and your desire to do well by people if you want to help them or do this, that, and the other, or whatever it is that they're expecting from you. But if they're expecting it and trying to force you to do it, you don't owe it to them, right? Especially if they're not taking the time to be respectful and love on you and show you their gratitude and thankfulness and anything else. So you don't owe your family anything. You get to decide how you relate to them, how your relationship looks, how you're involved. And again, be respectful, don't just like be a brat about it. Keep that in mind. But you don't owe them anything. They can't have unknown expectations that you need to fulfill and follow through with. That's just crappy and dumb. Number 6. One more after this, guys. Number 6. You're not obligated to have a relationship with these people. You're not obligated to have a relationship with these people. It's just a quick reminder that, you don't have to spend time with them. You don't have to have you can have personal boundaries with them. That's great. You don't have to tell them everything. You don't even have to have a relationship. And that just, rings true for me when I decided to no longer have a relationship with my father, which again, if something changed in the future, I would be open to it. But nothing will change. Nothing is changing now. And so I do not have a relationship with my dad. And I want you to know that it's okay that you don't have a relationship with your parents or your siblings or someone else in your family because of whatever may have happened. And it might be hard for them to accept that because they have an expectation. They think you owe them this relationship, but you don't. And you don't have to have a relationship with them, especially if it is really toxic, especially if it is really unhealthy and it leads to a lot of other terrible things for you and it's really only beneficial to them. Oh, I would say no. Oh, I would say no. So you're not obligated to have a relationship with these people. Again, people might tell you you should or you have to because they're your parents or your siblings, bound by blood, blah, blah, blah. I think it's all a bunch of crap. You don't need them. I feel like a real family will want to be together and want to support and love each other. And yeah, there's going to be hard times where you feel like you want to run away, but you need to actually put in the work and the due diligence to figure out how you can help and assist. But when the abuse continues to like come down and the burden of pain just gets heavier and heavier, no, you're not obligated to have a relationship with these people. You're not. And number 7, the last one that I want to share with you today is you can assign anyone you want as family. You can assign anyone you want as family, which harkens back to what I was talking about earlier in the episode, saying that I only learned that in college, which college was about, um, are you kidding? Almost, I like went to college, like started as a freshman in college, almost 20 years ago, 18 years ago. I am old, you guys. Anyways, anywhoots, you, so I learned that in college. And I hope that you're learning that now. And even if you're learning that later in life or earlier or whatever, it's important to learn it and embrace it and believe it. You can assign anyone you want as family. Maybe it's your best friend and you feel like your sisters. Maybe it is an actual family member, that feels closer than whatever it is. Maybe your aunt feels more like a mom than your mom does. I feel like sometimes my daughter feels like her cousins are actually her siblings with the way they act and fight and come together and enjoy the same things. It's really cute. And, but, or maybe it's like your best friend. I do feel like sometimes my husband can see his best friend as, like a brother. And more than, it's just nice, this relationship that's blossomed between them, right? And so you can assign anyone you want as family. It doesn't have to be the people that are blood related to you. And just because your family looks different than someone else's family who might actually have a really great relationship with everyone that actually is blood related to them doesn't make your family any less, any worse, any different in a bad way. It's good. It is what you made it. It is what supports you. It is what creates that happiness and joy inside of you. And it's what you need right now in this season of life. And that might change in the future, but right now it's what you need and what you want and what you've built. And that's what's important. And that's the end of the list, you guys. And that's everything I have to share on how to deal with unhealthy and toxic family relationships. And I hope this has been really helpful and beneficial to you. And if it has, or you think it would be to someone else, I encourage you to share it. Share the episode with someone else. But thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Again, with me, Sabrina. Thank you for downloading, listening, and sharing the show. And you guys are fantastic. Please don't forget to check the show notes for everything down there, like signing up for the weekly newsletter, maybe getting a copy of the journal for a friend as a gift, coming to say hi to me on social media. Really, tell me what topics you want me to talk about. Tell me how I can help you because that is why I am here. But until next time, have a good one, and I will see y'all next time. Bye, everyone.